swinging. Racker throws. There's a long back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants can repel it. The Giants can repel it. The Giants
Over to right field, scoring miles ahead of him. It's number 12 for Mantle in World Series.
action. There's a hard drive. It's a deep drive. And forget about it. It is gone. The ball game's over.
In the Los Angeles Bulls. Watson hits it high in the air. For the center fielder, Ken Landreau, this should do it. The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
Sees that number today with 3 hits. This could be 4. Back it goes. It's over. The Red Sox win, and they're moving on up.
Put his team ahead. The Dodgers who hit 118 home runs during the regular year have just hit their 16th home run of the championship series.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Between the Lines. I'm your host, Tanner Kern, and this show is dedicated to all things baseball. So as you can see in the corner of your screen, we're going to be talking about the National League West tonight. Probably one of the best divisions in baseball, very top-heavy, but definitely you have the Dodgers, you have the Padres, two of the best teams in the league. So anytime you got two great teams in one division, you can't say a division is bad. Pumped to talk about the show, pumped to talk about the division tonight, but before we get into it, I just wanted to say thank you for all the support so far on the show. It's really meant a lot to me. Remember to like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube, and then go to Instagram and Twitter and follow Between the Lines for all baseball content. I'm going to be pumping out a lot more stuff besides the live shows coming up in the future weeks. So let's get into tonight's show. So in the National League West, these ratings are courtesy of RotoChamp. So they have the Dodgers winning 103 games, San Diego winning 97, Arizona winning 77, San Francisco winning 76, and Colorado winning 64. Colorado has no chance. They're out. Don't even consider them in this division. They are rebuilding. They have a rough road ahead. San Francisco, I think San Francisco is going to finish third in this division in front of the Diamondbacks. I don't think the Diamondbacks are a third place caliber team. I think the Diamondbacks and Giants will be close. It's going to be a tight race, but the Giants will edge them out. I do agree the Dodgers are going to win the division. I don't know how the Dodgers are not going to win the division this year. I mean, they are loaded pitching-wise, hitting-wise. They're going to be really tough to beat. But the Padres, I mean, small market team going after a big market in Los Angeles. I give them a lot of credit. I just don't think they have enough. And you know what? They're one of the best teams in baseball, but they're just not in the right division. Will they get into the playoffs with the wild card spot? Probably. But I do not see them winning the division this year. So we're going to, like we've been doing before, we're going to talk about it from worst to first. So let's jump into the Rockies. So the Colorado Rockies, you know, I don't know what they're doing. Are they rebuilding? Are they not rebuilding? They're an old team, which is surprising considering that they're not going to win a lot of games. They traded away Nolan Arenado in the offseason to St. Louis, which is going to be a big hurdle to overcome this year. I mean, Nolan Arenado, one of the best third basemen in baseball, really great power, great glove. So Ramel Tapia is going to start off for the Rockies, followed by Ryan McMahon, Trevor Story, and Charlie Blackmon. Now, Story, McMahon, and Blackmon are definitely the three power hitters that this team is going to rely on. You're going to get over 20 home runs from each of those guys. For Story, you probably should get over 30 home runs. But the biggest question with the Rockies is, and the Rockies fans now, they're just waiting for Trevor Story to leave Colorado. Trevor Story is a great shortstop, one of the best in baseball, and he is going to leave after the season because his contract expires. Now, he could go at the trade deadline. He could be trade bait. I just don't know if he's going to be trade bait because of the teams that are probably going to be contending for a title. Not a lot of them will need a shortstop unless an injury arises, but look for Trevor Story to get a big contract in the offseason. He could be headed to New York to play for the Mets if they don't lock up Frankie Lindor, because Frankie Lindor wants that $340 million deal. I think the Mets are going to cap him at around $300. So look for Trevor Story to be a hot free agent in the offseason, but he can't do it on his own here in Colorado. Colorado has too many hurdles to overcome. After Blackmon, you got C.J. Cron, Sam Hilliard, Josh Fuentes, and Elias Diaz. the bottom of the order is pretty weak. Elias Diaz supposed to be a 7 home run guy, 315 on base percentage. Josh Fuentes, he's not even projected to get a 300 on base percentage, so it could be a rough season at the bottom of the order. Then you got in the starting rotation, German Marquez, Kyle Freeland, John Gray, Austin Gomber, and Antonio Centelvezl. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. And he's not going to do anything this year. German Marquez is their best pitcher. He's 11-11 this year. Should be around 11-11. And that's generous if the Rockies score runs. If they don't score runs, expect him to be a lot worse. Expect all these guys to have an ERA over 4 and then the back end of the rotation to be well over 5. They are just not guys that can get a lot of strikeouts in this division. Now, the Rockies, would they do better in a division like the NL Central, like the AL West? Probably. The National League West is not the division for the Rockies this year. But really, how is that top end of the rotation going to be? Because that is what's going to carry these guys, because 3 through 5 is really weak. And then look for Ryan McMahon this year to have a breakout season. I think he's a guy that Colorado could build their team around in the future. But not right now. Last year he was okay, but the year before he was excellent. He hit 24 home runs in 2019. So is he the guy that could be the next Nolan Arenado? He's young. He's only got 4 years of service time, possibly. But this is a big year for him. This is going to decide if Colorado is going to build around him. But it's going to be tough to get over the loss of Nolan Arenado. That's the bottom line. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. If they are, God bless them, but we will see. So then you got the D-backs. Biggest question for the D-backs this year is, how is Madison Bumgarner going to perform? Had a really bad season last year. He had a 6.48 ERA. And this is coming off a couple really good years, really dominant years. Now, Madison Bumgarner, he was on the cover, I think, of like MLB The Show 2010 or something like that. Like, he's been in the league a long time, but surprisingly, he's only 31 years old. I mean, Bumgarner's been in the league a long time. He debuted at 19 years old, but he's still got some time left. He's still got some juice left in that arm. Now, he's pitched 12 years on it by this point in the major leagues, so will his career end a little earlier than most guys? Probably, but he's like a Kershaw. He's a generational pitcher. He's been here for a really long time. But he's got to be better than a 6.48 ERA. Got to be. There's no option for him. If he's not, the Diamondbacks could slip down below 70 wins. Madison Bumgarner's been off to a really hot start in spring training so far. So take a look at this. This was his first outing. He was just dealing. He had 6 strikeouts and a couple innings of work.
He will make his 2021 spring debut. It was a rough season for Bumgarner statistically last year.
There you go.
That was 90 on the outside corner for a called strike 3. So a good start for Bumgarner. 1 out. 2-2, swing and a miss. That was the curveball.
Yep.
Out number 2.
Yep, 79 on the radar gun that time, but good break to it. Really fooled him.
And here's Phil Gosselin. Swing and a miss. Gosselin to swing over a beautiful curveball. Bumgarner strikes out the side. Madison Bumgarner gave up a hit but struck out the side in the first. 2-2, swing and a miss. Another cutter. That's 4 strikeouts for Bumgarner through an inning and a third.
Sure does look good right now. Looks like he's right in rhythm.
The payoff, swing and a miss. A curveball fools Adele. 2 outs. 5 strikeouts for Bumgarner. Called strike 3 on the outside corner with a fastball. And if that's it for Bumgarner, boy, what a 2021 spring.
So Bumgarner came out hot in his first outing. He's been doing really well. He's going to get the ball on opening day. He's got to be good. There's just no other way to describe it this year. The Diamondbacks got rid of a few big guys in the offseason, so I don't know if they're rebuilding. I don't think anyone does, because they're a very old team. They got a lot of veterans. They got some young talent, but they really haven't committed to the rebuild yet. Even though they cannot win this division this year, they will not get in the playoffs as a wild card team. So, I know it's a little premature saying that before opening day, but these guys are not good. They need to commit to a rebuild so they can really start taking some steps forward. Now, a guy like Zach Gallen just hurt his forearm swinging a bat. This has brought up a lot of hate and discontent over the universal DH because a pitcher got hurt. Zach Gallen's a guy that is going to be the next Madison Bumgarner in Arizona. He should have under a 4 ERA, and he's got elite strikeout ability. Probably will pitch about 140 innings this year, maybe 150, 160, but my fear is that arm, hairline fracture, will he be able to bounce back, or will it continue to nag him throughout the year? The plan is for him to probably be in the starting rotation on opening day, but he might have to start the season on the injured list after coming off that hairline fracture that was just published the other day. So the problem with the Diamondbacks roster is they don't have a lot of pop. They barely have a couple 20 home run guys. Most teams in this division, for you to win in this division, you got to hit home runs with the Dodgers and the Padres. David Peralta is going to lead off, and then Ketel Marte. Marte has got to be good this year. He had a down year last year, but this is a guy that they got to build their franchise around. He's a player that should have a 350 on base percentage. He should hit over 20 home runs, and he should drive in 75 RBIs. Very talented guy. But the question is, his stats this year are based off the bottom of the order. Can that bottom of the order circulate through to get him up more? And will they have people on base when he steps in the box? So Eduardo Escobar, Christian Walker is going to bat cleanup. I love Christian Walker. I think he's a very talented player, but he's not a guy that should be headlining a franchise, and he is headlining in Arizona along with Ketel Marte, Josh Rojas, Carson Kelly, Tim LaCastro, and Nick Ahmed. I like Nick Ahmed. I loved him when he was with the Orioles, but he's getting old. He'll bat 250 this year. He should have a little over 300 on base, which isn't bad for someone in the 8-hole before the pitcher spot, but in this division, it really doesn't matter with the Dodgers and the Padres. So we talked about the starting rotation. Behind Bumgarner, you got Luke Weaver, Caleb Smith, Merrill Kelly, and then you'll have Zach Gallen. All these guys are mid-4 ERA people. Should give you 130, 150 innings of work, all of them, but no one's that 200-inning guy that you can really lean on. I wish Bumgarner could do it. Bumgarner has thrown a lot of innings in his past. I just don't think this is the year where they're really going to do it, where they're really going to put a lot of innings on him because, the Dodgers and the Padres, recurring theme here. In the bullpen, look for Joakim Soria and Stefan Krichin to get a lot of work. They'll both be asked to close games. Joakim's probably going to be the main closer, but they will both be asked to take the ball with the game on the line. The thing is, save opportunities are probably going to be limited for these guys. If they can go into the ninth inning with a lead, I think they have pitchers that can shut teams down, but you're playing 19 games against the Dodgers, playing 19 games against the Padres this year. It's going to be really tough to be going into the late innings with the lead. So I just want to know if these guys are rebuilding or not this year. What this year I think is a big indication of what they do next year. If they have a little success, do they try to go with their veterans, add a nice guy in free agency, or do they just totally clean house and move on and get ready for a long rebuild in the National League West? Then you got the Giants. Now, the Giants, if you know the Giants this year, there's one guy that's been a mainstay, Buster Posey, right here. Buster Posey has been with the team for years. He's probably not a Hall of Fame catcher yet, but he is making his case. I think if he has another few good seasons, he will be a Hall of Famer. But Buster opted out last year because of COVID-19. He did not want to play. So how is he going to bat coming back off the injury? The Giants, this is surprising, but the Giants have one of the oldest lineups in baseball. The rebuild has not begun yet, which is, I don't know why these teams aren't rebuilding, because we need to rebuild to beat the Dodgers. We need to rebuild to beat the Padres. I think like the Diamondbacks, they are going to rebuild next year. Like the Rockies, they're probably going to rebuild next year. Everyone needs to rebuild to get ready to beat the Dodgers and the Padres, who are going to be good for years. I mean, the Padres locked up Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis for the next decade, and they're paying them a lot of money to do so. So these teams got to spend money to compete. With the Giants, Tommy La Stella at the top, Mike Yastrzemski. Love Mike Yastrzemski, legend player. I'm a Boston guy, so know a lot about his grandfather. He's a guy that should hit 25 home runs. He's going to have a good average, but he's going to have a better on-base percentage. Knows how to work counts. Probably is a 350 to 360 on-base guy, which is huge. Exactly what they need at the top of the order. My biggest thing with Yastrzemski is the strikeout rate's going to be a little too high. He's got to, I know he's watching pitches, so it's give and take thing, but he's got to get better at making contact consistently when he steps into the box. Buster Posey's going to bat in the 5-hole. Buster Posey is a big component of this team, probably a 20 home run guy. If he hit 20 home runs, that would be huge for the Giants, but he really needs to step up because he is playing for a contract after opting out last year. The Giants have a promising young catcher coming up that's almost ready to go, so this could be Buster's final year with the team. His contract's going to expire after the season, So if they keep him around, it'll probably be playing first base. But we will see. Then you got Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, Marcio Dubon at the bottom of the order. All guys that have been good in their career, but they're just a little past their prime. I mean, the Giants, depending on what roster they put out on opening day, it could be the oldest starting lineup in baseball this season. So they got some work to do. They got some work cut out for them. This is not a great rotation either. Kevin Guzman at the top, Johnny Cueto. Two guys that, like I said, have been good, but they are not aces. They are middle to back end of the rotation guys, as much as that hurts to say. I mean, Kevin Guzman, he's good. He's by far the best pitcher on this team, but he is not an ace. The Giants need to figure it out. They need to get better. They need to move forward. And I just don't know what's holding all these teams back from spending money to go win. Because in the end of the day, baseball is about winning championships. These teams do not have the players to do it right now. One pitcher I love in the order is Alex Wood. He's probably going to pitch in the 4 or the 5 spot this year. Not a guy that's going to give you a lot of innings, but he's probably one of the most efficient pitchers on the staff. Should give you a really good ERA, decent strikeout rate, but he's pesky. He shows up, he competes, and I think he'll be really beneficial at the bottom of the rotation. Now, he's going to need run support. He's not going to be able to keep keep runs off the board. Balls are going to be leaving the ballpark occasionally, but he is a tough pitcher at the bottom of the order. He's a former All-Star, so expect him to have a good year, and maybe expect for them to use him out of the relief. In relief, he can do it all. I mean, he's done it all throughout his career. But their closer is going to be Jake McGee. Jake McGee is a solid closer, and Tyler Rogers is also another guy who will set him up. Both those guys are going to have over 60 innings this year, so they will be very, very good. But again, same issues with the other two teams in the division. If you're not going to have a lot of leads in the 9th inning when you're playing in the division, at least. Playing out of the division, the NL, the rest of the NL is very good. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Even a team like the Cardinals, even a team, in that division like the Cardinals, it's going to be tough for them to beat. I mean, the bottom of the NL West is not the best division in baseball. The top of the NL West makes up for the bottom of the NL West. And then you got the Padres. Fernando Tatis. Locking Fernando Tatis up. Locking Manny Machado up. Now, Fernando Tatis hurt his non-throwing shoulder on a routine ground ball the other day, which is a little concerning, but he seems to be okay. Fernando Tatis needs to be in the lineup this year for the Padres, for them to have a chance to beat the Dodgers. He needs to hit great. Manny Machado needs to hit great. Manny Machado could be the best player in baseball, and I think a lot of people don't know that. I mean, Manny Machado, he signed the deal in San Diego before San Diego was prominent. Maybe he knew something. Maybe the front office said, we're going to build a championship caliber team around you, and that's why he signed with San Diego. Who knows? But when he went to San Diego, people were like, why are you going out there? You're just going out there to retire. You're going to spend 13 years there. And everyone's going to, you're just going to the beach because you're never going to win a championship. Well, that might not be the case. San Diego is good. They have the ability to win a championship. So Trent Grisham's going to start off, then Fernando Tatis. I got this compilation of Fernando Tatis hitting some bombs. Check this out.
There goes way, and it's
Fouled a few walks.
Jordan was quite a way.
And touch. One.
And he hits a high drive to deep left field, down towards the pole. That ball is up, and it is gone on top.
Now, Tatis definitely has one of the prettiest swings in baseball, and he's got to hit like that this year for the Padres to have a chance, because the bottom of the Padres order with Jake Cronenworth and Victor Cortina, that's going to be a little tough. Those are two guys that are going to hit under 10 home runs. They're not going to get on base a whole lot. So the really top of the order's got to produce. Behind Machado, you got Eric Hosmer, Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham has got to have a huge year. And you know what's surprising? Tommy Pham, he's only, I think he's 30, 31, 32, 33 in that range, but he's the oldest player on this team. He needs to step up in the 5-hole. He's like at least a 350 on base guy. Last season, he only had a 312 on base percentage. That was an issue for the Padres. That was one reason they could not end up beating the Dodgers and advancing in the playoffs. But Tatis, really, he's got to stay healthy this year. That's another big thing. Like I just said before, he's gotten hurt in spring training. These guys need to be healthy. Manny Machado, they need to be healthy. They are paying these two players over the next 14 years for Tatis, 10 years for Machado, $640 million combined. There's some opt-outs in there, but that's a lot of money for a small market to spend. So it's got to convert, it's got to capitalize, and will the money pay off? I don't know. We will see. But the rest of the lineup, if Tatis, Machado, and Hosmer hit, they should be pretty good. They should be in good shape. Their pitching rotation is stacked, kind of like the Dodgers. You got Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove, Chris Paddock, Adrian Moron. Those guys are good. You got Danielson Lamet too. He will start the season on the injured list most likely. He did come back in spring training after an elbow injury the other night, and he pitched 1 inning. He pitched solid. But these are guys that, who's going to be the ace? That's what it comes down to. It's probably going to be Yu Darvish, but if you could get an ace caliber guy in Blake Snell, and then you get an ace at the bottom of the order or bottom of the pitching rotation, they're going to be really hard to stop. All these guys are guys that can put 160 and up innings on their arm this season. A lot of them are really good strikeout pitchers. Yu Darvish is a great strikeout pitcher. Blake Snell, solid strikeout pitcher. I'm really excited to watch these guys pitch. I'm excited to go see them face the Dodgers and see what they can do, because Blake Snell was a guy who was in Tampa Bay last year. We all know the story. In the 5th inning, he was pulled by Kevin Cash because he was just absolutely dealing. But Kevin Cash has his strategy where we're going to pull pitchers after the 5th inning. And he ended up pulling Blake Snell, which ultimately led to the Dodgers winning the World Series, winning Game 5 and sending Tampa Bay home. So, we'll see how he does. I think he's going to be really valuable for them. And then think about this. In 2023 or 2022, they get back Mike Clevenger from Tommy John. So look for the San Diego rotation to be dangerous for the upcoming seasons. In the bullpen, you got Drew Pomeranz and Emilio Pagan. Those are two guys to watch out for. Pomeranz has had his career revived out in San Diego. They're going to be very hard to beat, and the Padres will take leads into the 9th inning, and they will be able to close games. So the Dodgers got their work cut out for them, but I still think the Dodgers have the upper leg in the division. So you look at the Dodgers. Dodgers, baby. They are going to win this division in my mind. There's just no doubt. They're going to be so hard to stop for a multitude of reasons. The only thing that's going to stop the Dodgers is themselves this year, and this is right here. This is them winning the World Series after last year, their picture. If they show up and they think that they're the best team in baseball, we're going to roll over everyone, San Diego doesn't stand a chance against us, they got some issues. I don't know if they'll have that mentality. I don't think they will. I think they're hungry, because a lot of people have said that their World Series last year was a fraud because it was over a 60-game season. But let me tell you something, it wasn't. The expanded playoffs last year, they had to play an extra playoff series where they would have gotten a bye. In 3 games. So their great season last year, their great season over 60 games could have been ruined in 3 games. They ended up winning that series. They ended up winning the division series and the NLCS against the Braves, or NLCS against the Braves, and then NLDS against the Padres. But these guys, they worked for it last year. They earned it. This was not a fluke championship, and when they win it this year, it's not going to be a fluke again. No team has ever gone back-to-back, so the Dodgers are out to prove that they can do that this year. You got Mookie Betts at the top. What more can you say about Mookie Betts? Phenomenal hitter. I loved how the Dodgers fans put a sign in Boston saying, "Thank you, Boston, for Mookie Betts." Because if he would have been in Boston, the Red Sox would have a chance in the American League East. He's that good at the top of the lineup. He's a 30 home run guy at the top of the lineup. He's going to bat close to 300. He's going to have an on base of close to 370, 380 in that range. If you're getting that out of your leadoff hitter, and then you got the power hitters like Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, and Cody Bellinger to follow, watch out. The bottom of the Dodgers order does damage too. You got A.J. Pollock, Chris Taylor, Gavin Lux. Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux are going to be probably platooning a little bit this year, but A.J. Pollock is going to hit close to 30 home runs in the 7-hole. That's just ridiculous. This game is won with home runs, strikeouts, and walks, and the Dodgers have a lot of guys who hit home runs. They have a lot of guys who walk, and they have a lot of pitchers who can strike out, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I just can't get over this Dodger lineup and how good they actually are, what they've done. Now, they spent a lot of money to get it, but it's worked, and it's gonna work again. Whether they win a World Series or not, these guys are going to be good. They're going to be good for a long time. There was some news today that was leaked out of New York saying that Corey Seager, who will be a free agent next year, is a target of the New York Yankees this offseason. He's a primary target for them. They want Corey Seager playing shortstop for New York next year. So if he has a big year, expect him to end up in New York with a massive contract. Cody Bellinger, my favorite player in the league, should hit close to 40 home runs. I mean, just former MVP, former Silver Slugger, absolute beast, great hitter, one of the promising young stars in this game, which we have a lot of right now. This is why it's a great time to be a baseball fan, because there are so many young players that are going to be stars for years to come. In the rotation, Trevor Bauer is headed to Los Angeles, or he's there now, thanks to Rachel Luba, $102 million over 3 years. I mean, Trevor Bauer is amazing. He's going to do some things you don't like. He's going to be a little ruckus in the dugout. He's going to tweet some things that you don't like. He's throwing innings with his eyes closed already. He's chirping people, but that's Trevor Bauer for you. But Trevor Bauer is the reigning Cy Young winner, and that's what matters. Trevor Bauer is going to do damage for the Dodgers. He's going to step up with Clayton Kershaw, who's getting the ball on opening day again, and then Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler's been getting shelled in spring training, but he is the future of this franchise. And, don't let anyone tell you different. Clayton Kershaw might not be in Dodger Blue next year. His contract expires. I can't imagine Clayton Kershaw ending his career anywhere else. I mean, he's a staple in LA. He's the greatest pitcher of this generation, but you never know. Walker Buehler is the future, though. He will be getting the ball on opening day in the next few years. Trevor Bauer, 3-year deal. He could be getting the ball on opening day over the next couple of years, but the thing about Bauer is Bauer loves to go where the money is, and if he is still pitching great in 3 years, I bet someone else will shell up some money to get him on their team. And then you got Julio Urias and David Price. David Price, Cy Young winner, just don't know how well he's going to pitch this year. He opted out last year. He hasn't been great in a couple of years, so who knows, but the thing is, Dodgers got 3 Cy Young winners on their rotation, or in their rotation. That's pretty damn good. You're going to have a tough time competing with 3 Cy Young winners, even though David Price at the bottom of the rotation. I know he didn't pitch great in Boston his last year, but he's still a Cy Young winner. You can't take that away from him. He's put a lot of good innings together. And you know what? I'd rather bet on a veteran who is not past his prime yet than a young guy who is up and coming and promising that hasn't done enough. Now, the biggest question for the Dodgers is the bullpen. Kenley Jansen, is he going to close this year? Kenley had a rough playoff season last year, but Dave Roberts has said that he's going to give the ball to Kenley Jansen to start the season at least and go from there. Really good relief pitcher, just lost a lot of zip off his fastball. So if he doesn't locate, he's going to get hit, especially against a team like the Padres. So will he be taking the ball in the mid to the late season in the 9th inning? I don't know, but first few save opportunities he gets, he better convert or he will not be getting the ball for sure. They got a guy like Brusdar Graterol, throws gas, 100 miles an hour. He's probably the future closer. He's a young guy, so look for him to have a big year. You got Blake Trinan, Dustin May, Tony Goslin. I mean, these guys are just legit pitchers. It's a good relief crew. I know everyone's saying the relief pitching's a little sketchy in LA, but it's not. The only thing that's sketchy is Kenley Jansen going to be the guy this year? And we will find that out soon. And if he's not, he'll be a good setup guy too. So that does it for my NL preview. I think the Dodgers are going to win this division. I think the Dodgers are going to be 5-6 games better than the Padres, but the Padres will be in the mix. The other teams, they got to rebuild. There's just no other way around it. They got to rebuild or they will not be able to compete with the Dodgers. If they rebuild, they still might not be able to compete with the Dodgers because the Dodgers are spending a whole lot of money to win games. So, you know what? They shouldn't be able to rebuild, but if they want to get into the playoffs as a wild card, they got to get some better talent on their team, especially with San Diego making moves. So it's going to be a fun year in the NL West, but expect the Dodgers versus Padres race to be one of the best in baseball this year. So let's get into some news around the league. So Eloy Jimenez to miss 5 or 6 months. He is a White Sox left fielder. Great bat, young promising star, Silver Slugger. Last season, he batted .296. He had a .332 on base, and he hit 14 home runs. So this is going to be a huge blow to them. Here's the video of the injury.
Ball. It's in the air to left field. Eloy drifting back. He is still going. Eloy is at the wall, and it is gone. Sean Murphy takes it deep.
And Eloy crashed into the fence
that
again,
is not good
and
news.
He's hurt. banging into the wall like that, he comes away hurt, and this is something that we really can't have. I mean, he absolutely is a mainstay on this team, but we've seen this happen far too often.
Eloy Jimenez is down. He's holding his, it looked like he was holding his knee, but now he's going to hold his shoulder. So his arm was just sort of dangling there. And let's take a look at exactly what happened. He was bracing himself, and then he went in with that same arm, and then Stevie goes over the top.
So it ended up being a ruptured pectoral tendon. He's going to need surgery, be out 5 to 6 months. Now that takes us to September, October. If the White Sox are making a playoff push, expect him to probably return. But if they're out of the question, if they're out of the playoff contention, he will not be playing any more baseball this season. The White Sox were supposed to be one of the best teams in the American League, and a lot of people had them winning the AL pennant. You know, with Jimenez gone now, it's probably unlikely that they have a chance to win the pennant, but we'll see. I feel bad for him because I would love to see him play this year because he is such a great hitter, and he was coming off an awesome season, over 60 games. I'd love to see it over 162, but we're going to have to wait at least another year. Then you got Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey's officially a big leaguer. I know that sounds crazy because Matt Harvey was one of the most dominant pitchers back with the Mets a few years, well, probably 7-8 years ago now. But Matt Harvey is a big leaguer. He officially made the Baltimore Orioles. Congratulations to Matt Harvey. He signed a minor league deal coming into camp, and he earned his spot in the rotation, partially because Felix Hernandez had a sore elbow, so Felix is on the injured list, and Matt Harvey is making his way up to the big league roster. He will be the 4th or 5th starter for Baltimore. I'm rooting for Matt Harvey because he is, you know, he was good. He's a Connecticut guy, and he's had probably the collapse of a lifetime after he left the New York market. So expect Matt Harvey to be okay this year. Not great. He's not going to get a lot of run support in Baltimore, but he really needs to show something because he's playing for a contract. But good to see him in the big leagues, at least. I think he still is good enough to be a big league starter. His quote after he was named the starter, I thought I got a chuckle out of this. He said, "When you start an all-star game and then you pitch in the World Series, I think the last thing you ever think of is how excited you'll be to make a team again." It was a good early birthday present. It's probably one of the best I ever had. So from 2011 to 2015 with the Mets, he went 25 and 18. He had a 2.53 ERA, and then it just went downhill. Injuries sidelined him and could never recover. So Matt Harvey, congratulations. Hope to see you dominate this year. Maybe you'll be able to shut down the Yankees. I don't think so, but we'll see. Head over to Astros camp now. Luis Garcia, he is the 6th-ranked prospect in all of baseball. He threw a golden inning yesterday in spring training. Now, if you don't know what a golden inning is, it's 9 pitches and striking out the side. So he did that, and he said he didn't even realize it till he got back to the dugout. He was just in the zone. This has only happened 102 times in baseball history. Now, this won't be an official count because it was a spring training game, but he still did it. So he posted a 2.92 ERA last season in 5 starts, and he also made a start in the playoffs. He's the 6th-ranked prospect through MLB.com. He should be with the big league roster this year. Who knows? But he will be a mainstay in Houston for years to come, along with this guy right here, Lance McCullers. Lance McCullers signed a massive contract. He signed, I believe it's 5 years, $85 million. Now, that has not been confirmed yet, but MLB.com reported that today. So the news should be coming out with the exact details in the contract, but they did ink him to a new deal. So he's appeared in 94 games. He's made 91 starts in the past 4 years, I think, since he's been with the club. He's 32 and 25 with a 3.7 ERA, and he made the All-Star team in 2017. In 2019, he missed the year with Tommy John. Last season, he was okay. But this is really going to be a solid rotation. You got McCullers, Jake Odorizzi, and Framber Valdez in the coming season. So expect Houston to be good. They're going to have to fill a few holes when they lose some hitters to free agency this year. But the pitching staff is there to be dominant in the AOS for years to come. So that does it for tonight's episode, guys. Thank you for joining me. If you want to connect with the show on Instagram and Twitter, go to @BTL Baseball Show on both. And then if you want to connect with me on Instagram, it's @TannerKern. And if you want to connect with me on Twitter, it's @TannerKern_. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting a lot of content out there in the coming weeks. And yeah, happy Thursday, everyone. I will see you guys Sunday. We will be talking about 2 divisions on Sunday and then 1 on Tuesday as we prepare for opening day on Thursday. So it should be a good time. Hope you can join me. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.
Up there swinging. Backer throws. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the Pellets. The Giants from the Pellets. The Giants
Over
from
to
the
right
Pellets.
field, scoring miles ahead of him. It's number 12 for Mandolin World Series.
Action. There's a hard drive. It's a deep right. And forget about it. It is gone. The ball game's over.
In the Los Angeles Bulls. Watson hits it high in the air. For the center fielder, Ken Landreau, this should do it. The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
That number today with 3 hits. This could be 4. Back it goes. It's over. The Red Sox win, and they're moving on up.
Put his team ahead. The Dodgers, who hit 118 home runs during the regular year, had just hit their 16th home run of the championship series.